I'm Giant Phantom. I talk all things Phantom, so let's get right into today's video. Hit the button, hit that sky button, and let's talk about Pixar. So back in the day, Pixar was my childhood. I grew up with Toy Story. Toy Story was the best movie of all time. I even went to Disney World right after Toy Story came out and had all the all the Toy Story characters on the parade. It was just fantastic. It was my childhood. Pixar is a big part of my life. Remember back in the day with the original Pixar films? They don't do it anymore for some reason, but they had these like awesome bloopers at the end, like a regular movie would have the bloopers. They had bloopers of Woody and Buzz, messing up their lines, or other scenes. Even in A Bug's Life, they had the camera guy like in the shot and all that stuff. It was very meta, but what if it were real? Let me explain. So a while back, I did a video talking about the Rescue Rangers being in the same universe as Roger Rabbit. And if you look here on my Duckverse timeline, I have that timeline here as well because it does fit in. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was in 1988. Rescue Rangers was in 2022. Donald Duck as Maui Mallard was in 1986. If you don't know who Maui Mallard character is, played by Donald Duck, go check out the video. Either way, Who Framed Roger Rabbit is a movie about all these cartoons from Warner Brothers, Disney, you name it, all living in the real world. They mostly live in Toontown, but they are hired from studios to create movies. Well, that kind of advanced to now, where Rescue Rangers, we see the Sonic the Hedgehog. We even see the scrapped Sonic the Hedgehog that was redesigned. So the Sonic the Hedgehog was never used. There actually is a whole thing about that. So when Sonic the Hedgehog movie first was introduced, the fans went nuts, myself included. We actually petitioned to change how the character looked, and they made it look more like the Sonic that we grew up with. So that scrap Sonic was in Rescue Rangers. It's kind of cool. It's going to listen or not to it. We even see Baloo from the live action Jungle Book. But that same Baloo went through a process that you can watch Rescue Rangers, basically digitizing himself, going from 2D to 3D. He did that to become the live action Baloo in Jungle Book. Before that, he was the cartoon Baloo, and he actually would play Baloo in Jungle Book as well as Baloo in Tailspin. He was a hired actor for all those movies. Just like every other cartoon character, movies, TV shows, video games, whatever it may be, we hire these cartoons as if they were actual actors. With that being said, wouldn't Pixar fit into that timeline? Wouldn't the Pixar films be part of that same universe? If that's the case, that's unbelievable. Like, think about this. Woody and Buzz are just 3D animated characters that are actors that are hired to make the film. And in Bug's Life, one of the bloopers we see, the cameraman looks like a bug. So they have a bunch of these bugs that are anthropomorphic that actually work as the whole crew and actually film the movie. And so whatever the studio was, they had these bugs be the camera crew and all that stuff, so they can actually have a better range instead of having a giant dude with this big camera down in the face of Flick. It's better to have another ant hold a tiny camera that can upload the video to the computer, and then they release it on a totally different timeline outside of the Duckverse. Woody, Buzz, and everybody else would fall onto this timeline. If you want to know more about this timeline, go check out that video as well. So, with those bloopers, the Pixar universe just confirms this theory that Rescue Rangers and Who Framed Roger Rabbit are all connected. Everything is all mixed into one universe, one timeline. Obviously, some of the older cartoons don't get as many jobs anymore. Like Betty Boop has to work as a waitress at a skanky bar because she doesn't get any jobs anymore. Now, some actors may get a job down the road. Who knows? Betty Boop may get hired. It all depends on the situation. So it's just kind of neat that Pixar, did this back in the day. So Disney and Warner Brothers got together and created the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Awesome concept of cartoons being live in the real world. Then Pixar made these funny bloopers of the actors messing up their lines, screwing up the scene in some other fashion, tripping over something, whatever it may be. They did it for Toy Story, A Bug's Life, and I think so. It's Toy Story, Bug's Life, Monsters Inc., and Incredibles all had these bloopers, but they stopped it for whatever reason. Then, almost 30 years later, with Rescue Rangers, Disney does the same thing again with Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but in the future. Not the same thing, not the same storyline. They don't have a crazy cartoon villain that makes a chemical called Dip, although Dip is featured in the film. So, they knew what they were doing. They connected it. They connected the dots from Who Framed Roger Rabbit to Rescue Rangers. And maybe they didn't plan on it at the time, but all the things are connected. Disney's very, very smart. They do these things with the intention of connecting it and allowing us to find these things. Because if you didn't watch the film fully, you wouldn't have noticed the canister of dip and connected it back to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I actually went through a video discussing all the Easter eggs, and then I made a video about how it is connected to Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And now it's connected to all this. And all this is the Duckverse. And the Duckverse, creates this contingency timeline of Scrooge McDuck's life and how he was able to be alive in the DuckTales reboot when, according to the creator of Scrooge McDuck, he died in 1967. So how is he alive in 2023 if he died in 1967? Well, I figured it all out, and it all makes sense, and it's almost like Disney intended it to be that way. It's almost like these clues that I found allowed everything to be connected. It's amazing. Like the fact that Scrooge Duck owned a mine around the same time as Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Who do Seven Dwarfs work for? Scrooge McDuck. He collects all those diamonds, and it's actually canon because there's a comic book strip of that happening. Now I'm going off on a crazy tangent here. I don't want to explain this whole timeline thing to you. If you want to watch it, there are videos about it. Go check out the playlist called The Duckverse. You can watch all the Duckverse videos, all leading up to this. And I'm going to continue adding on to it as much as possible. But this video is not about Duckverse. This video is about Pixar. But I guess you can say Pixar does tie into all this. This is all connected. Everything is connected. Yeah. I'm rambling on here. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Comment down below your thoughts on the Pixar bloopers. Did you enjoy them as a kid? Do you think it makes sense that they're basically just actors living in a world of Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Rescue Rangers? And while you're down there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out my merch store, check my Patreon pages, check out the join button, whatever. Anything you can do down below will help support me, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Before you go, check out this video up here, and now I'm back there. And I'm out.